Hi, my name is Rebecca Lee, and I co-wrote this book, the Mercury Detoxification Manual, with Andy Cutler, PhD, who should have got a Nobel Prize, worldwide fame, and the adulation of the masses for what he figured out. But of course he didn't, and died in relative obscurity, although there are plenty of people who are very grateful for what he did for them. And you can read testimonials at www.cutlersuccessstories.weebly.com. And there are also a bunch of testimonials I have been accumulating at my website, www.maybeitsmercury.com. The last thing Andy was working on before he died was the chapter in the detox manual called, Does Your Child Need to Chelate Too? I asked him to write this because I thought that a lot of people are not putting two and two together and understanding that the same thing that is making adults chronically ill and as mad as hatters is giving the little kids autism and all the other problems we see nowadays. He worked hard on this, and apparently he was dying when he did it. I can't express how important this section is and what a gift to parents. In the chapter, Does Your Child Need to Chelate Too?, he starts off explaining that susceptibility to mercury runs in families, and that if you are aware of a problem in yourself, then check your child. The best way to check them is trial rounds of chelation. Quote, if mercury is causing a problem, your child will get better with chelation. If it's not mercury, nothing will happen. You have nothing to lose, but a future of suffering and grief that neither you nor your child need to experience. The chapter starts off with a discussion of the rate at which children's teeth should be dropping out and coming in. If some teeth do not come in by the right age, he explains, you need to find out why this is happening. One cause can be low thyroid, which mercury and lead can both cause. This needs to be seen too early, as it can cause lifelong problems. Then he discusses growth charts, which he says your doctor is supposed to be filling out at the well baby visits, but which they often don't. If your child's growth is not following a specific curve on the growth charts from the CDC or the WHO, then you need to investigate it. Don't wait for your doctor to tell you to investigate it. An investigation will usually mean trialing chelation. Then there is his chart of developmental milestones. Every sentence is one milestone. And quote, the times are the age by which your child should already have done this milestone. If several milestones are missed, it's usually mercury. If it's not mercury, it is usually some other toxic metal, end quote. If your child is missing a bunch of these, you need to investigate. The final section of this chapter is titled Common Sense. He prefaces this by writing, the genes that control your child's development are the same that controlled his ancestors' development. His ancestors nursed, played, learned, grew, and matured in a consistent pattern from the Stone Age through ancient and biblical times, through the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, the last century up till now. Normal, healthy development has been crucial to the survival of our species for thousands of years, and it's clear almost all children will develop normally if nothing interferes. If a child is not developing normally, it should ring alarm bells regarding toxicity. I used to work in the YMCA at the front desk. One day there was this adorable little girl, and a friend boasted that she was in one of his classes. She was so cute. And one cute thing she did was flap her hands, which freaked me out because I sensed that this is a sign of those products that must not be named injury. And he didn't put that in his list. If he hadn't died so soon, I would have asked him to put it there. He does put in, your child often toe walks, another symptom that makes me go on high alert and everybody misses. It's not that these on their own indicate mercury toxicity, but this common sense list is a list of symptoms and behaviors that are unusual and children of previous generations did not display. If your child has several of these behaviors, you should investigate. You can do lab tests for some things, like poor thyroid function, but most of the time, investigating means trialing chelation. If there is any reaction to chelators, good or bad, then there is something to chelate. If there is nothing to chelate, then nothing will happen. Chelation is no longer in vogue. It is considered dangerous by regular MDs because the way they want to do it is dangerous. It must be done properly, as we have outlined in our book and is outlined in the book, Fight Autism and Win. Andy explained to me that the doctors who used to specialize in autistic kids, and they used to be called GAPS practitioners, started off using his protocol and their patients would improve. Then they had a meeting and decided it was too onerous to ask the parents to get up at night to dose their kids, so they stopped doing that. When they stopped following the half-life rules of the protocol, chelation stopped working and tended to make kids worse. On page 160, he writes, and these are his words to you young parents, if you are concerned something is not right, but the doctor says everything is fine, the doctor is wrong. You are right. You are right. And fancy medical studies have discovered this to be true. It's also what you'll hear from the parents of most autistic children who have spent a year or so trying to get their doctors to pay attention. A parent, particularly the mother, is far more sensitive to her child's state than any doctor can possibly be. Most doctors don't study child development any more than a parent does nowadays anyway. The doctor relies on you to recount your experiences with your child. No matter how marvelously expressive you are, it is simply impossible to convey the richness and complexity of having shared your child's entire life in an appointment that lasts an hour if you're lucky. Half an hour if you're lucky. If you think something is wrong with your child after reading this section, he says, try chelation. Just do it. The instructions are the same as for an adult, only the dosing is different. In a few weeks, it will become very clear whether your child needs to chelate. If something happens, they need to do it. If nothing at all happens on, round, or afterwards, they don't. It won't matter how much chelator you give them. If there are no metals to chelate, the chelators will have no effect at all. If something happens, it's because there's enough toxic metal present to be a problem. I had a colicky baby, and I clearly remember what it felt like to get no sleep for extended periods of time, and that is nothing compared to what many mothers of injured children endure. It grieves me greatly to read the stories of parents, mostly moms, as the men can't stand it and tend to leave, who have those products that must not be named injured kids. And who's going to take care of your children after you can't anymore? Please, please do your due diligence on this. You have nothing to lose. Thank you for listening. Please like and share. Andy once told me that he didn't go to do the political work around this issue because he was more involved in getting people better. I guess I am too. But still, let's try and get this information out there. And I work as a health coach, and you can support me by hiring me for a consultation.